Oh. Hello, everybody. Go get the other remote. Opening here at and around the previous day lows. My VWAP is gone. There we go. We are pushing into overnight lows. NVIDIA is pushing downside. Microsoft pushing downside. We sold off very hard yesterday. I'm sorry, it's quiet in my office. There's a rain kind of lulling me asleep in the background. Let me pop this on in the background just so I can hear. All right. Doing a little Twitch stream as well, just checking to make sure it's all good. Yeah, we good. All right. The overnight low for S&P is there. Previous day low here. Overnight high there. And previous day high is right in that range there. All right. It's in the closet. Pretty sure it's in there. I'll look in a minute when I get my coffee. Got back from dropping my son off at school a little later than normal. So I'm getting onto the charts a little later than I would like to be. Not really ideal for myself. Looking at the longer term, Microsoft and NVIDIA both pretty heavy NQ1. And we're going to go to 30 minutes. This is 5-minute charts. I want 1-minute charts. $30 minutes here. We are sitting right on major structure for me. at 18,839.50. 18,839.50. So basically, the sweep of the previous day low either gets us that continuation, or we could look for our failed break and rotate back up. We do have down to 18,700 for that previous breakout point right here. You can kind of see this is that 18,700 number. We're sitting on top of this break here that was really a breakdown point. It was support for a little, then broke down. We're coming back up here, kind of lingering between these two levels. So if we can crack through 839 down to 700, it kind of makes sense. Going back upside up to 18, back up to 19,000 makes sense as well. You got a sweatshirt for me? Thank you. Thank you. Close the door. All right. Sweatshirt delivery service by the young boy. Sometimes you need help from your kids. All right. Previous day low. Let's see if we can accept above it. I don't want to look for that initial break failure of this previous day low quite yet. I mean, we are above VWAP there. Doesn't quite give me that same conviction to say, okay, we're going to fail and break down. We are in a downtrend, so it could make sense for that to sell. But right now, I'm not quite ready to see that. Could easily just break and bounce out. Although the overnight high seemingly to get taken out. Let's see, 1,700. This did not work, right? 1,700 is up here. Overnight highs for the S&Ps is up in that range there. Right at that open, 1,700. So we are pushing towards it right now for that S&P. See if that will break and push up. We do have 9 o'clock, the JOLTS coming out at 9, so we could be just waiting for that JOLTS number to come out. I need more information to line me up here. We are above 406.18 in Microsoft, kind of putting us green so far on the day. Over in pre-market highs probably pushes us up right around 408, 407.80. And with NVIDIA is selling off, with the news of NVIDIA is basically they got subpoenaed for antitrust stuff. I believe that's what it was. So they are going to have an issue. Might want to see S&Ps push up into that overnight high and see what happens there before I get into anything. I would like to kind of maybe clean up that overnight high even in the NQ before I do get to looking for a new short, right? Kind of clean up this bit of a mess here. Although that was a spike down pretty much at the very end of the day there, 15 minutes, just caught a bounce. Basically, probably looks like profit taking. There's still some downside pressure that could be taken here. That was a nice 10-point move for the failed breakout. It just didn't seem like it was the right timing for it yet for me. We do have up into that 30, 28. I mean, I guess it tagged off right on that number. Could have been anywhere up into that 28 to 30 mark. Still could set up for us. 71% long on the tilt. S&P's is 63% long on the tilt. So the NQ is more tilty long side. Microsoft selling, NVIDIA selling. Could give you that same deal as yesterday, where yesterday kind of flushed this level. And never look back. So watch it. Opening range is 830 right here. This indecision candle that we're pumping right into right now. That's that opening range. It'd be nice to get a nice break above the previous day low again. Maybe push into that level one more time, and then look for a sell. But and NQ is stronger. I mean, S&P's is stronger right now than the NQ. So a break above here could lead to longs. But I would like to see it maybe give us a wick of this level here, and then come back down, try and fail that previous day low, give us more opportunity to kind of really melt off, push down into that support, maybe into that overnight low, and continue on through. If S&P gets into that overnight high, rejects that level, could take that previous day low as the area for interest for the short. Microsoft looking to break higher. If it breaks 406.50, then maybe this carries this up. NVIDIA is still down below 105. So if it breaks back above 105, maybe that pushes Microsoft over 106.50. I just think that people are nervous off of the NVIDIA lawsuit, and that's going to definitely carry this market to the downside because we've been driven totally by NVIDIA this whole time. This move here was pretty nice. Basically, if you could have gotten it, filled around 909, probably would have got out at 900-ish, 890-ish. Get yourself 20 points on that. We are trading the XFA. We're copying it across a combine, and I'm leaving one combine to its own devices so I can trade that at any time, any place with that. Currently just kind of waiting. Wait. Let this thing do its little dance here. There's a number at 45. I don't know what it is, so I will. It's some single. I think 9 o'clock is the jolts. I think that's when we're going to wait for the jolts number. If we could get above this previous day low, maybe we can get a wick off high here. Failed break above 105 for NVIDIA, and then fail it again. I will take the short the second time through, because if it's going to break out the second time, it should break out, right? You would think. Let it hold there. That should be the breakout point. Let's see if S&Ps will fail that level there. This should give me the idea. Is it going to fake out to the long side? But Microsoft just broke 406.50. Nice powerful move to the high side, and NVIDIA is catching a bid, right? So that little move, the thought of in Microsoft, if it breaks 406.50, would carry NVIDIA back up over 105, and it looks like that's the case. My thought on this is this candle should not fail. And if it does fail, this kind of volume break above should really lead to a complete melt off if it does, right? Like at least, try that overnight low again and see what's in store down there. I am personally looking to now see if overnight highs will hold. That's where I'll start to look for setups. Overnight high would be, just make sure that is correct. 1700. Yeah, pretty much right there. That's the area where I would be interested, because then back, that's just got all the way up till 19,000 and beyond. Obviously, 19,000 is the overnight high pretty much. So let's see what happens. Beyond, well, let's go back here actually. Beyond that overnight high, we'll probably look at this level here to get tagged, which would be this level right here. And then from there, this is the other breakdown point, pretty much, that 120 level. to recover that whole move from yesterday would be interesting. If S&Ps fails this overnight high, then possibly we do get that rotation back down through to overnight lows. I did, like I said, pretty much this. If this is going to be a breakout, if this is going to push back and accept into previous day lows, I did not want to see it come back down. So if you are a breakout trader, if somebody who does like the playing this kind of move, that was a pretty clean 30 points, beyond more, 40, 50 points at this point. Pretty clean without much pullback. So this held opening range, broke above. You got a snap open in Microsoft, which pushed right into 406.50, which is like that first area of interest from the overnight. Then, like I said, 408. If Microsoft now does fail, this could be a trap for the long. To me, if this is going to be a real good break, it should never come back to this previous day low. Maybe it would retest this 31, this 30, 18,930, 31, but it shouldn't really come all the way back down and into breaking down for the low from yesterday. So I will hopefully see a failure of the overnight high. That would be really nice, except you are seeing it already in the S&Ps, failing the overnight high there. That's perfect setup wise for the S&Ps. I think if we do break down below the previous day low, you'll get a really hard snap down into 890. I'll probably hopefully be at even pretty quickly, and then we hopefully could break down further, breaking down below 860 and into overnight lows, and then giving a decision to be made if it's going to break overnight lows and continue lower, or if it's going to bounce and rotate back up. And we'll look for that setup down there as well if we do get that. So you're seeing the strategy work right now in the S&Ps. It's a failed breakout of overnight highs, so it's either going to get back above it, try and break and rotate, and then the NQ will catch up and get to its overnight highs. NVIDIA just breaking high of day. Microsoft still trying to creep back up. Things that are working in the bullish favor. However, we can take the elevator down real quick, trapping some longs. 77% long on the tilt really gives me hope that we'll fail this previous day low, but 80% tilt. This is dancing around quite a bit. Try to add another dome, but it didn't work. Calm day here right now so far. I think we can still get some more sell side pressure. NVIDIA is catching a bid, so NVIDIA is pushing upside. Microsoft stagnated at that breakout point and is kind of trying to pull back some. I think that if this gets to be back into that 30, 31, that's probably where it would be likely to pull back into. It shouldn't pull all the way into this previous day low. If it does decide to flush previous day lows, I am going to get involved in the short. I do like when that happens, and that would make sense for a more continuation for the sell side. The pullback to 31, pretty much right there. That pullback there is, that's a likely area for the buyers to start being interested for just more, consolidation, pullback, and then push up to the long side. There was no real reason for this breakout other than Microsoft and NVIDIA starting to step up. There wasn't like a big order flow or anything like that. I didn't see tons of orders on that push. Yeah, the VWAP makes art to, but at the point that it gets there, I think VWAP will probably step right up into that previous day low. Yeah, once again, the Jolts comes out at 9. I usually am flat 5 minutes before a release, a 9 o'clock number or hourly number anyway. So we will wait and see. We do have 5 more minutes before I can't execute. NVIDIA just ran right into some resistance. Microsoft has yet to break out of highs, and it's kind of just running into a point where it might break out. Like I said, 408 is that area that I would be interested in. It there it goes, right to 407.75. The pre-market high for Microsoft just cracked and pushing up towards 408. So the pushing to the high side still going. 409 and 409.86 for Microsoft would be next upside area of interest. NVIDIA ran it to 407.71. It is selling from there a little bit, not much, just kind of stalling. This is a nice setup here on the S&Ps where we are playing with that overnight high, seeing if it's going to break, see if it's going to push up into 55.47 before it decides that it wants to fail that level. Do we get up over that overnight high in the NQ first before we start to break back down again? That would be nice. If we can get a nice wick up into that 32, I would definitely look to short that overnight high if it wants to come back to it. And you can see this is our normal like wedge pattern thing that kind of occurs usually before the dump. I don't want to be snapped in and rotated out, but I will still take my short if it's going to come before, and we get to in 5 minutes. If it decides to not be there, then I will remove that order. Even though Microsoft and NVIDIA are both going upside, something looming about a downside push. It's kind of lingering there. Like I feel like if we break below 60, something like this. First target would be previous day low and then beyond. 19,000 is a magnet. 19,000 does have, well, we have some orders running in front of it, some asks stacking up in front of that 19,000. 3 minutes till I can't execute. Might want to just wait for that Jolts number. There's the break of 60. That should lead to a push down to the bottom of this, down to 40. Usually that's what happens with this kind of wedge. If it doesn't breach this low here, then it probably rotates back to 19,000. It's interesting that it didn't quite get there yet. S&Ps did. Microsoft selling a little bit. NVIDIA holding up slightly. 52. All right. I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this, flatten my contracts, make sure there's no orders out there. Canceled. Just make sure this follower doesn't have anything. Okay. I'm going to go make myself a quick thing of coffee, and I'll be right back for 9 o'clock. All right. About 3.5 minutes till this Jolts number comes out. See what way we go. Got myself a nice day trading Coffee Co. short squeeze espresso. There's the S&Ps. %73 long on the S&P, 62% long on the NQ. That's probably more like it. Trying to use the bodies of these candles. I am live across YouTube, Twitch, and Tradecaster today. Trying to make it a triple stream. See what kind of interaction we get over there. Not expecting much on day one of Twitch. Start to see some characters pop out during my trading sessions. We'll see what goes down. I'm waiting for that 9 o'clock number to come out, see if we get any interaction with that Jolts. The Jolts expectations is 184 million. That was the previous. The forecast is 8.1 and 8.09. We'll see what happens with that. We also have factory orders, which was negative last month. They're expecting positive numbers this month. Quits. And then crude is going to be at 3:30 p.m., but that's not important for us. Trading the equities. If you are trading crude oil, be mindful of all of the inventory numbers that come out. These wedge type patterns, usually if they do break, they usually break down, pop right into my level, and then try to dance around. So I want to see what happens around my level if it does come into play. One more minute. See what comes to the Jolts number. Like I said, here's the 9 o'clock whippy action. I want this order book to really get back to normal, right? That's a good short through my level. Must have been a bad read. 7.673. It was wanted to be at 8. All right, so now we're going to watch. This order book was too thin for me to execute that, right? I probably would have got slipped all the way down to here. Yes, I still would be in the money, but you can see that clear setup kind of coming into play. Am I mad about missing out on that? Not. I mean, it would be great to have caught that whole entire move right there, basically. However, I'm not too ready to jump in front of that with the way that whippy action occurs. That was a very nice. I mean, look at that setup there with that wedge pattern, right? It pretty much just broke straight through it, broke straight through our previous day low. Now and into that support level from all overnight. And now we're going to see if it holds through that opening range low. If not, if it rotates back up, does it recover the entire move? And can we get a nice setup up over? Maybe that at 18,920 can get us to pop up. If not, we're going to start dancing around with this overnight low and see what happens. Microsoft and NVIDIA both sold off on that number as well. I mean, you're looking at 960. And I drew up that chart a few minutes ago. And I took it off, that short idea, through 960. So through 960 down to overnight lows was that ultimate target. You're at 960. I would wait. I would let it dance around a bit. You're right in the middle of the opening range. I think this does give you a recovery of that number, that move. I want to see a setup at the previous day low maybe for that short. Get up over that 20 level. If it can get up over 20, then I would look to short it through that 20 level. But it's still dancing around too much. Very, very whippy, spready price action. The bid ask is a little bit wide for me right now. I will sell one through the low if it wants to go, and I'm going to get to even really, really fast if it does go. There it goes, straight up. That's wild. Wild price action there. I want to see the thing melt through the overnight low. It's probably my risk is probably a little tight for this price action, but I'm going to give it a chance. Gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna see if it works for me. Apparently, these orders are getting rejected. I am gonna short through this overnight previous day low. If it fills, I'm filled. So let's see if it'll sweep flush through this low or not. I'm gonna get snapped out, aren't I? S&P's is super heavy. Why is the NQ not? Come on, get through that VWAP. There we go. I'm even. Whoa, actually, I'm not. I'm down 130 on that. That's crazy. That's crazy. I got to break even and end up being down $100. That's cool. Damn, that sucks. Very interesting. Yeah, this is true. I'm gonna let it settle down a little bit. That's unfortunate. It is what it is. I got my entry. I got where I wanted to be. There was the fill was very poor. We're still getting a little bit of spread on this. I'm gonna give it a few minutes. That sucks. Very good trade there, opportunity wise, and now I don't really trust it. Right? Hell yeah! What was that? Good job. Well done, Scotty. Attaboy. Big time. I got slipped on that sell. I got to even and then it slipped. I like the short here, but I don't want to just get in front of it and it runs over me on the upside. Yeah, that's always good. Oh, I need to do that to this. Forget because if I'm trading my leader, I want my follower to stop. Will it recover this entire downside move? That's a pretty bullish behavior. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. Don't make me. Hey, you're there though. You'll be there soon enough. You'll get back into it. Nvidia is stepping up. Microsoft stepping up as well. They basically look the same as this chart. You cleaned up this entire breakdown. Good morning, Charlie. How we doing? I am down 137. I guess that's a good thing. I could have been down more on some of that slippage, but I was at even on this move here, on this secondary push to the downside. I still think that we can break through that bottom end, and then we get more continuation to the downside. Not much. I don't think that there's a huge move to the downside again like yesterday, but I do think that there is still that chance that if we do fail previous day lows, overnight lows will come in. We have yet to clean up overnight highs or overnight lows, and previous day low is dead center of that range, so it does make it kind of difficult for me to execute here, but I do still like that idea of a continuation through that previous day low if it wants to do it. You would not really want this to happen here. The 30-minute candle would be a completely flat, big wick bottom. Now looking to go red to green on the 30-minute candle, right? Let's see if 19,000 comes into play, and then we can start to mess with that level as well, right? This 19,032, I would really like to get the short from the overnight high. That's obviously the more ideal area. Pull that back to VWAP, then see what happens from the previous day low down to overnight lows. See if that does come into play, or if that JOLTS number was what was going to be the driver to push us to the upside. Doesn't matter if it's worse or better or whatever. Microsoft still stepping up. Nvidia stepping back up again as well. Nvidia could push up into 109 and 41 cents potentially. I do like that short idea. If it breaches overnight highs, 80%, 87% long, get through that overnight high, and I'm going to short it. It's not going to get through it, is it? Right to 19,000. Right to 19,000 to the tick. Could not get to the overnight highs. Making sure that is the overnight high. It looks like it. Yep. Dang. Didn't get the chance to short that overnight high on the S&P. On the NQ. Could short it here on the S&Ps. See if I can get front run to that VWAP. How'd you do that? Did you trade the news there or what? Still 80% long. Probably will continue to sell. Microsoft pulling back. Nvidia pulling back some. Not crazy. If you're looking at this way. Yeah, I don't like to trade the news. That's why a lot of times I'm flat at 9. Or every hourly candle, I'm flat 5 minutes before, flat after. If I miss that huge candle to the downside, it's okay because technically, that's really a very hard thing to trade cleanly without getting that slippage. I traded after it kind of started to clean up and started to go back to the downside, got to even, and then somehow took $100 worth of slippage, which is crazy to me because I don't think it was that wide of a spread at that point. But that's just my, my thought on it. I will still take the failure of the previous day low. I wanted the failure of the overnight high, which would have been a really nice trade already. And I considered, maybe front running it at 19,000, but I, want to see that overnight high get snapped first. Just wasn't able to get into it. We're going to try it again through 19,000, I mean 18,909. So I'm going to short after it gets below VWAP, see if it'll get through that level or not. Short here through 40. Kind of makes sense through the bottoms of those wicks there. When is that next billing cycle? When do you actually, when will it reset? It's up to you. I mean, realistically, you could always buy a second combine and have one and start working on that. And then when that one resets, you have two combines that you're working with, trying to pass both at the same time. It's all just a kind of financial decision on your part. I wouldn't reset it per se because, I mean, you're still a little bit away. The only reason I would reset is if it was like the first week of it. I mean, it might have been the first week of it. You have 2 whole weeks to try and pass before that reset comes. So a lot of times what I'll do is instead of buying the reset, since the new combine is the same amount, I'll just buy the new combine and I'll pay for it and I'll let that one that needs to reset take its time to reset, and then I'll trade the new combine. And if I do really make dumb mistakes, I'll try and not even do anything. I'll try and just completely walk away or something. But that, I mean, that was just a news mistake. You kind of got burnt. You understand the lesson. You learn the lesson, and you just move on from it. Yeah, personally, I'm not looking to um, just keep hammering into these news events. Short at 60 makes some sense because the S&P is looking to break that overnight high again to the downside. So that's a nice little grab there from 60 to 40. If it does crack this little upward wedge here, yeah, if you were already, I mean, it's sort of worth it on if you're when you're down on these combines, it's worth taking that. So I would recommend if you really wanted to just get a second one. Yeah, August killed everybody, I think, really. I mean, there's a few people that did a really good job of managing their money and taking money out of that market, but August is a difficult month to trade in general for myself as well. So we're all just back to September, getting back into good, better trading conditions. Today is not the best, but it is presenting clean opportunity. We're on to a new month, a new day, and I'm not even mad about my trade. I'm kind of just a little disappointed in the slippage that I got from it because that's yeah, I should have had one break even idea here. Like I managed it appropriately. This is a really outsized bit of slippage, if I would have to say that myself. Um, I entered at it slipped 7 whole points, which is crazy. 74% long on the tilt, so you should still be safe on this short. I will enter at my level to get through. Short in everything would be my call. I would like to get my stop over 30. I want to be entered here. If I'm going to slip negatively, I want to get in. I think it's got more downside. I think we're going to get some real heavy pressure here. Hopefully we get down to overnight low after I get triggered in and it just melts all the way down and I'll never have to trail it. However, I'm going to just let this thing do its dance. See if I can get a nice hard flush down to 18,880. Snap my stop to even. Hopefully not get shitty slippage and kind of work through this. I'll take 20, 30 points every day. See if I get triggered. We're looking to see if this thing will break through VWAP. Microsoft still holding this little uptrend that it's got going. Higher lows, higher highs. If Microsoft could break through 406.18, then we can start to get a real heavy flush coming into our NASDAQ trade, I think. Just need that Microsoft help because NVIDIA's already pushing down below 107. Well, trying to push towards 107 even. If we can get through 107 even on NVIDIA and Microsoft breaks through 406.18, then we can get a heavier flush through previous day lows, start to accept into new lower markets areas. And then, like I said, I think that we have down to 839. Below 839 is 700. So down to 700 would be the next area of interest. Can we get this to break down? Break down. One time. I just literally want one trade today. I want this to never come back. I want like the biggest red candle I've ever seen in my life. You know, trigger me in, dance around at this 18,880 and then melt through overnight lows. That would be the ideal situation. Down to 700 is the... if we break through overnight lows, 700 would be the target to the downside. NVIDIA's trying to break 107, just did. Microsoft still holding over 407, though. So there we go, pushing down a little bit. So they're both getting slightly heavy. So if they can break downside, then we should be okay. If they start to crack higher, then we will not have an opportunity to get this short. It's all kind of lining up here, right? A bit of a wedge pattern type where we can snap through this previous day low and then run away to the downside. I'm probably going to throw my risk over 31, so 20 points. It's a little wide. See if I can match Abby's gusto with her shorts and longs and shorts. And Microsoft held again. NVIDIA held 107 again. But if we look at NVIDIA over here, you can see it's creating this higher low, higher low, higher low. If we could crack through here, we could possibly start to get more selling pressure. Same with Microsoft. Right at the high of this higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high, higher high, but equal highs here. 407.90 needs to maintain that area. If we could get a little snap down to 406.18, we should get that rotation down. I'm waiting for the timing of it. Abby normally does fixed $300 risk, and I don't know if she targets 500, I believe, or something around that, if I'm trying to remember correctly. Back above overnight highs for S&Ps. NVIDIA holding 107 has already confirmed. So now rotating back upside. That's not bad. Just two losses. or a break even with slippage. Yeah. My personal daily loss limit is 550 on the XFAs. I usually risk 250 per. I still like the way this looks as far as not wanting to go to the upside currently, but if it does give you a snap, I would like it to snap up into that 19,032 to give another one of these, like my favorite thing currently looks like this, where we break above that, snap up into a key level, right? You'll get that push, snap up, and then you fail back down and take out all this, right? So that would be pretty much my really good A plus setup right now. So if we could snap into 32, I would like to be short right below our overnight high, and I will look to get this thing to pull back into that direction. So that's really what I would be A plus looking for. And also, if we can fail it really quickly right here into this level, then just get off the screen. I would like that. That would be ideal too. So. If you guys have Twitch, I created a Twitch account as well to kind of broaden my streaming horizons a bit. So follow me over there, same name, @PleasingPips on Twitch. I think I can link it. Let me see if I could share this bad boy. Share, copy. Here we go. So if you're on the go and you need to find it, that's where it's at. It's the same feed. I'm just multi-streaming, like copy trading it across all platforms. I really want to try and figure out which platform will be best, which will be ideal for me moving forward. Tradecaster is always the home. YouTube is kind of a pain. I don't know how much Twitch does with the copywriting stuff, so if I play music, I'm sure it'll be mad at me as well. But we'll see. YouTube likes to throw strikes at me, even though I'm not monetized or anything. I'm sure I'm shadow banned for playing Frank Sinatra music. So they are pricing in more of a cut. They're trying to price in a 50 basis point cut. I do not think that that's going to happen. I think they'll cut a quarter of a point if they are going to cut. It's more of like an appeasing thing than anything, because it's really not going to do anything unless it's really ready to go. I mean, there's not necessary to cut rates currently. I think if they think the market's actually strong, but if they're trying to get in front of something, then the rate cut makes sense. So NVIDIA's starting to break down. Microsoft needs to break down a little bit here. If it does, I think we do start to get that heaviness come, right? This is that failed break of that little bit of a upside wedge pattern. You do have the S&Ps right here failing the overnight high again, right? That failed overnight high right there. If it does continue to start to pressure down, get through that VWAP, we should see our entry below previous day lows start to induce more selling. That's just based on the whole broad picture of what I'm looking at, with NVIDIA failing to really push past 108 and with Microsoft just lingering around the high, right around that 408. It hasn't broken out. There hasn't been big volume. We don't have any more news really on the day. So everything that's happening now is positioning. And we do have non-farm on Friday. Do they want to be all the way down at lows for non-farm? Do they want to be back up to highs? We have to wait and see where we're going to go from here. Finish my short squeeze espresso. I might go for another, if you know what I mean. I'm a big espresso kind of guy. This broke out, retested, held 60, So we are kind of noticing that that 60 level, that spot that Abby liked to short before, has become a very reactive level. I believe that there is going to be, if my amp is locked off, but there is a high probability that this area is going to be the reactive point of the day. So 960, if we could get a break down below it and start to hold, maybe retest it, then come back down to the short. If not, let's see what we got size-wise on the books here on the level twos. I'm trying to rely solely on the level twos in Top Step to try and really just focus in everything on one platform. The market may do anything. It could do whatever it wants, whenever it wants, however it wants to do it. We just need to put ourselves in a good position and react, right? Some size at 19,000 a little bit. I want to see if it pops back up that direction. Yeah, 19,000. You got 44 contracts there, 50 contracts sitting on the ask. Could get to be a little bit bigger. You can see that 60 level down here, 19,060 on the order book. You got 789 executions at that spot. So the highest point of executions of anywhere, right? So that 60 number, just pay attention to it. Pay attention to 19,000 right here, right now. I want to see if orders stack up, if it's going to pull to 19,000 and through, or if it's going to reject 19,000 again. So if we can get up over our level, right, like I talked about, 19,032 would be like a nice wall to run into, wick it, and then start to come back down over the overnight high. That's really where I would like to see this thing go. Microsoft just snapped up over 408 and then pulled right back down. NVIDIA the same. Tried along and it worked. There you go. Yeah, I would never put a stop right around the 19,000 mark. I want to see this get tagged. I want to see this trappy kind of action. I want to see if maybe Microsoft and NVIDIA will start to rotate downside first. Give me a leader indication that it's going to go. $930. This is where I would love to see this thing hit off on 32, fail 32, and then immediately snap down. I'm gonna get below 19. No, I'm gonna front run 19,000. I don't care. I'm gonna stay right at that 19,002. According to my strategy, this should work. 81% long on the tilt. I'll get even closer to that. Overnight high. Fail that overnight high on me. I'll snap to even and see if we can get through 19,000. Never made it to 32, but I think we can get down now. Let's see if it's going to go down. Order filled. I'm filled in. See if it goes now or never. Just over that candle, 220 I'm risking. If it snaps me in and out, then I'm out, right? If we can get through 19,000, then we should be able to snap through. There it goes, back upside. Oh, NVIDIA's going up, so I'm going to get snapped out probably here. Come on, get down. You see how reactive this level is? How much dancing it's doing? Don't like it at all, to be honest. There we go. Get through it. Come on now. Talk to me. Nope. Didn't do it again. This would be my actual first loss of the day. There we go. So NVIDIA starting upside did not confirm my move there. I will re-enter. This still is my setup. I still have one more loss in me. There's that 32. Trying to attack 32, see if it gives me that failure. Yeah, it's super tilty long. I like the short still. But Nvidia is catching a bit of a bid now. So if Nvidia does not fail this level quickly, then we won't get involved. Microsoft trying to dance around with 408, 409. If it does, this is what I was looking for, right? That snap to 32. So I should have waited for that snap to 32 first to see if I'll get the rejection. If this snap from 32 rotates us down, then we should be okay. If it never comes back, it never comes back. I have to try my setup when it does. It could still go up. I mean, it's breaking through that 32 level. And the reason I have that there is just this consolidation area, breakdown, retest, and then another rotation down. So we're now retesting this a second time. If it does break up and above, up to 80s does make sense, right to the top of that consolidation. And then up to 129, 130 makes sense as well if you're playing the upside. If I'm going to play the downside on a failure like I was talking about where, we are very tilty. Retail's trying to get long here, which tells me that I want to be short. I want to be against the grain. I want to be a contrarian idea here for this to really snap hard to the downside if it fails the overnight high, right? That's what I was looking for. I drew that up for you before, right? I drew up where I wanted to see this get through this little wedge, get up into 32, fail 32, and to be short down through opening range low. And that can still be confirmed, although any sort of confirmation above this 32 and pushes up into that level will be... I've seen tilt get close to 90, yeah. That's a really heavy tilt, right? And this is nice too, this little pattern here starting to get tight on the wedge. I'm sure you could. It's going to be hard to measure it because you got to really tap in that Top Steps data. Maybe they can figure out a way to allow you to do it, but it's doubtful. I like the short. I still like the short idea. We just relieved a lot of that, though. You can see 76% long. Still heavy tilt. They're all long from 19,000, so they are in the money. Shorts are average from 19,012. You can see in time and sales, yeah, for sure. There's decent size getting filled at 20s, 19s, 20s, 19s. If this cracks, hopefully we can get a nice heavy crack. Microsoft does have up to 409.86, basically 410 for the next area of interest. We are at a place where yesterday, after hours, there was a lot of sellers coming in at 409.20. So 409.20 in Microsoft got tagged and is now starting. Microsoft and NVIDIA both giving a heavy sell idea, so be careful on the long, tight stop. Like I said, I think this 32, if it does not hold, then it starts to rotate off of 32. If you could get through this 32, then you can be breaking out. Microsoft holding currently, you're still safe for now. NVIDIA still giving some down tick 108.50, 108.42. Microsoft just cracked through this trend line, so potentially looking to break down a bit from 408.57. Microsoft and NVIDIA. NVIDIA is holding above its little trend that it's been creating, although NVIDIA has had that negative news, so maybe that's why it's getting bid up. They're now aware of the news. They get it. They understand what's going on. Microsoft just gave that fake out up, pop down. So back to 408.50 There's the wick above 32. Could that have been the candle to trap some longs right there? Who knows? We'll see. 80% long on the tilt again. You can see the pattern happening here as well on the S&Ps. Back below 55.47 should give you back to 55.40. Then hopefully we can rotate down to VWAP. More of a rotational day. Take that 20 points and run. I'll take 20 points every day, every trade. Still pushing strong, right? I said that 32 can push you up into 60, so 19,060, and then into 19,080, really the high of that big part of that consolidation. But you're right dead center of this consolidated area here. So you're like midpoint of this consolidation. There's the heavier push. See if it's going to snap up or not. 38 got filled 40, 50 lots, 34s, 42s, 45s. Would not hate a snap down from that key break point. 30. I don't want to chase this though. It is holding and leaving that opening range at the bottom of the day. Even after that big sell-off, we were not able to break down from that point. So I was leaning towards bullish behavior yesterday. Now today, it's more bullish than it is. Up to that 60. You can see this coming in here as well. $9:41 a.m. here Central Time, seeing if we can get the breakdown of this key structure level here, or if it's just going to continue to go straight on up. I mean, with NVIDIA catching a bid today so far, that is driving this market up. Microsoft as well, driving us upside. I did mention 409.86 was a key structure point for Microsoft. The overnight highs, I mean, pre-market, after hours, that high was at pretty much that 409.86, 410.08, 409.86. Pretty much, that's it. Yeah, it's been bullish since the open. Even with that negative JOLTS report, that heavy sell-off, this does still feel very trappy to me for longs. Like, every time it gets long, it gets really heavy retail long, 74, 80 something percent. So every pullback wants to get bid up by the retail traders. I think at some point it's going to snap and we're going to get another leg to the downside, just based on the way the action is playing. Here's the pull into that 32. Does it hold 32 or does it break down? And do I want to front run my level or do I want to hold? I've been noting that these front runs do help a little bit. However, sometimes they'll get you into some trouble. They're a little bit more aggressive. I am on my last trade of the day, so I'm not going to do it here. If I had more bullets in the gun, I probably would have. Should have had more. Just unfortunate that first trade slipped us so much on that stop out somehow, 7 points, which was not realistic at all. But it is what it is. No harm, no foul. Here we are still just being very patient, waiting for our trade to align with us here. $19.1, $19.129. And then I said the high of that consolidation, like the tight consolidation part, was 60. The highest end was 81. So that area is that consolidation zone where we saw this very interesting bit of information and data, pretty much all consolidated within here. I'll just put that whole thing in there. Trying to find a more consistent zone. Where would this be more likely to reject from? It's probably going to chop around in that area if I was to guess. Still holding this bit of a wedge. I mean, we talked about the long through this, pushing up into 32, then failing 32 and rotating back down. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Obviously, we're going to wait and see. I took that first chance at a short here. It snapped out. Bottom ticked in. Probably could have waited for a little bit further depth, maybe go below 19,000. That was just on me, front running it, just taking my level exactly. This one here, I want to see if it'll snap into 32 and hold 32. If it gives you something where it holds 32 and then tries to come back down, then maybe we'll try and front run it and try and short through 32. It's going up. Yeah, it's still just going up. I just don't have any conviction really either way at the moment. It's what I was talking about yesterday with the slow grinding action to the downside. Bullish days tend to be grindy to the upside, and I don't ever really find entries for the bullish side if I'm trying to play like a breakout continuation. It's very difficult something to say. Yeah, there should be like some sort of manipulation. The tilt has gotten reprieved here, so there's less tilty behavior going on at these levels, which is good to note, right? There's the crack of 32. Does now 32 hold here and rotate us back up? Do I have to wait for Microsoft to hit off on 409.86 before we get a sell? And NVIDIA wants to get up to like 109, 109.50. There's the crack of 32. So there's the push, the first attempt at 32. Popped a little bit, now snapping through it, looking to get short potentially through 32. However, this is an area of high interest that could just be popping us back up into, let's call it 50. If it gets up to around that 50 mark and then starts to rotate back down, another push down through 32 does seem more likely if it does want to get through it. S&P's is breaking, but still holding over 55.47, which is I would assume the equivalent of this 32 level. So there's that good break of 32, nice and heavy. So I'm talking about these. Let's see if this will give me my idea or if it's going to just wick me in, wick me out, right? I'm going to give it a shot. It's going to take my overnight high. I did want to get up in at 32. So that was my thought process there. Maybe if we get a retest. This is holding here. So that's indicative of the S&Ps being relatively strong compared to the NQ. So that was what I was talking about there, that heaviness coming into that 32 level. You could have grabbed yourself the nice, 30 points right there for that short. Oh, no, my power is flashing. That's great. Okay. See if it gets up over 50. If it gets into that 50, that retest, I will short through 32 at that time. See if I can get the actual entry for the heavy short and then the rotate back the other direction. However, if it's going to retest 32 and then melt through the overnight high, I'll still be looking to short that momentum play down to the downside. 19,000 doesn't have anything on it yet because we have not moved that deep within the market for my depth of markets currently. 30 up to 50s. 50s got 10s. Yeah, it looks like a pullback into that 19,000 zone to push back up. I think we have Microsoft all the way up to 409.86. We're at 409.40 right now, so another 40 cents in Microsoft to the upside before it really runs into an area where Microsoft would like to sell from. However, it's just been running into pre-market yesterday's after-hours selling point, which was 409.20. So Microsoft continues to kind of like base out at that area where that would be interesting. And then NVIDIA is also just kind of holding this trend line, could act as its next leg up here, up into like 109.50. Then that could be the true sell. Like I said, I want to see it up over 50 before I decide to get any ideas on short through 32. So that's my idea here would be push up, get up into that 50 or above, retest this trend line crack at a higher level. And then if it does break highs, I'll be a little more cautious. I think we're still bullish on Microsoft and NVIDIA. It just hit 50. I would like to short that if it does get there, and I'll get to even kind of quick on the front run just based on that level. Not crazy heavy tilt, 63%, 50-50 on the S&P, on crude, 70% on S&Ps. So that's a little heavier on the S&Ps long. I wanted to snap 50 and then come back down. There was the break of 50, failed break of 50. Microsoft still has up another, like I said, 40 cents before I have interest in a level for a short for Microsoft. So if it hits off on 409.86, I would expect an initial reaction for Microsoft, and that could indicate that piece of the pie that we need to start our selling for the NASDAQ, for real, the real selling. If it's just going to keep stair-stepping up, that is kind of what it looks like for now. Like I said, really just kind of being patient to see if this 32 level will crack again. There's 50 again, rejected 50 again. Decent size here. 45, 46 getting hit on the bid. 70% long on the tilt. NVIDIA is just not getting any sort of bid. It's just kind of grinding. I mean, people just hitting the bid, I guess, but just nothing crazy aggressive at these highs. We're right at an area of interest for NVIDIA where their sellers stepped in yesterday at around 2 o'clock. We are extended nicely from VWAP, which is good. I could get a nice pullback to VWAP if that's all. I'm like I said, it could be bullish the whole day. I just want to find that one pullback that I could take advantage of. Microsoft running right into that 409.80 area where that I said there's either going to be a break or a rejection or at least an interaction. So we are at that area for Microsoft to interact. Give you an idea of what it's going to do. 409.86 is the price. And there's a sell right off of that 409.86. I should start trading equities better than these futures. No, it's just because there's no pressure on that. This is what I'm looking at there. It hit off of it, got that initial sell side pressure. Now you see NVIDIA tightening wedge right on top of that area. If one of them gives up, then the NQ should follow us. And that's really all I look for as far as what those Mag 7 names trying to be the leading indicator of, timing wise. I don't want to get wicked in at 32, so I'm going down below 30 at 28. If Microsoft breaches 409.86 and continues upside, then it does have to 412. I think 412 is that area where I like Microsoft to be in general. 412 is a good spot. So if we continue to go up, then that's going to just be the indicator of it. Still going straight on up. Pullbacks are getting bought. Tilt get long. Everybody is getting paid on the long side. After a heavy selling pressure day yesterday, let's go to the 30-minute. So yesterday's levels, the high of the day yesterday was all the way up here. Nope, September 3rd here. That's not high of the day. High of the day yesterday was here. Why does it move? There we go. The high of the day there is 83 quarters. I gotta readjust this. 83 quarters. Sometimes the price levels get a little bit messed up, but there we go. So recovering into that 129 does look nice based on that 30-minute kind of curl here. We didn't have very much support at that level, so for it to react so much at this very specific point was just not that it was random, but it was a good area for it to just kind of make a decision, I guess. This could go up to 100, 300 is a good area as well. 336 if we just continue to catch this bullish behavior. Like I said, I'm not trying to chase the shorts. I'm not trying to go away from my levels. I'm still utilizing the levels that I have for my days. The previous day low, we took that short. We were even. Somehow we got a bad bit of slippage on our break even, slipping 7 whole points. Then we just tried our short here at the overnight high based on a little bit of everything going on. Took our regular full loss. Once I saw that NVIDIA was stepping up, I should have just kind of cut that at, down 100. That was just me just holding for a little longer than I should have. There's this break of this. 19, 140, 160 could be the target. Yeah, I think so. I think 130 is a good middle ground between that, 120, 140 could be good. 160 up into that range does make sense as well because it's the bottom end of that consolidation, like that wedge pattern. You could even get up into 200 based on this consolidation, right? There were lots of orders here and a lot of interesting areas. I still am not sold on the high side, just kind of based on yesterday's price action. You still do have a bit of information here that could be useful. Let's see. This could be useful here. So if this holds support, looking for bounce plays, if it does break through and start to rotate down, then the shorts possibly step in and start to play around. But it's all but bullish right now with Microsoft going straight on up. I think Microsoft suffered a little yesterday from NVIDIA's bad news. I don't see any reason why Microsoft would not necessarily get back up. NVIDIA makes sense with the subpoena and the fear that stepped in. 100 is a nice magnet. 19,100 has 30 contracts, 34 contracts sitting there. They got subpoenaed for something. I think it was antitrust. Why would it not be? Yes. There we go. Market chatter. NVIDIA receives subpoena by Department of Justice in antitrust probe of AI business. This is what we're looking at here. You can see that there. I will post the link to the news so you can read it at your leisure. Better. Hey, there's our weekly analysis. This week, a little off on the bullish thought process of where we were at. We sold off heavily. I did not anticipate the NVIDIA information. So that's just one of those things where the news pops in, pops out. Pretty much, I mean, but you can take a look at it and see. I don't know why it didn't link. It just kind of became a thing. Copy and paste that, see if it works. If not, just Google NVIDIA antitrust DOJ and it'll pop up, I'm sure. I find these interesting when it kind of holds that middle ground. Yeah. Oh, 10 o'clock here, back into ability to engage, 10:01. I'm literally one loser, one break even. I guess I'll call it a small loser because of the slippage that we got on that trade. Had to take the execution on it here. We executed, didn't get the best fill, and then got to even, and then somehow we did not get the best fill on the spreads weren't as wide as 7 points, so I don't know how that really happened. So it is what it is. I'm sure it had something to do with some of the back end simulation stuff. I know some people had issues with micros setting in orders and whatnot, so that's another thing. Then we just took the short right here when I could have waited for another 2 seconds or set my entry. I did set my entry below 19,000, and then I crept it up tight because I was trying to get as much out of this as possible instead of confirming, and that was the detriment of that loss there. Otherwise, not bad trades, just took what we needed to take. Yesterday we went red to green. Today we're going to look to go red to green again on one good trade. It's all it's going to take. When this does give up to the downside, it's going to be a really heavy sell, and we probably will want to get involved. If it does not, and if it just continues to stair step all the way back up, then I just never really have an entry. So that's where I'm looking currently as far as what my trading thoughts are for today. This is an area of NVIDIA 110 even that would be a nice little target for price to move to, and it's kind of just creeping right to it. That 129 level looking like it wants to get pushed into as well. Yeah, like I said, I don't really have an entry for a slow grinding upside move because every time it touches this trend line, it does give me the intention that it wants to break through and give me that hard give up. Yeah, it's so fast. Absolutely. Either way, I like to let it do its thing. I just don't have entries for the what it's doing now. It could go all the way up back to all time highs, and I just don't have an entry for a long retest type idea. So if I do catch the short, it will be the trade of the day. If I don't catch the short, if it doesn't happen, then I just won't have any entries, which is good as well. I'm not mad at the trades that I took or the losses that I took. I am disappointed with the slippage, but that's just me, I guess, playing too close to the news, even though we were already pretty much settled down. Yeah, it's all about controlling the losers. Let's see. I can believe it, but it's just it's I wanted the longs, to be honest. I just wanted them off the overnight low. I wanted longs yesterday. It was that big move down yesterday based on Nvidia selling. I really still think with the rate cut being priced in, the market does want to be higher up. It does not want to be below 19,000. That's for sure. I don't believe that 19,610 number is still very interesting for me. 600 to 610 and then up to 760. So I really wouldn't be surprised if after non-farms we get up into this area here and then start to pressure back up into highs. It's just I don't want to have too much bias on what's actually going to happen. I want to just react to what is happening, right? This is a good area for it. It consolidated and rotated up. We saw this movement on yesterday, right? So this setup here led to that big sell side pressure. We got a very similar setup right here. You broke it on that non-farm and now you're rotating back up. My concern was with that retail being so heavy long that at some point they're going to pressure that retail long out of this market. Thank you. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Very grindy, low volume. It's I guess the beginning of September is odd right now because it would lead me to believe that it would be more actual participants, but it still feels like it's algo driven. It does not feel like real market participants are playing. You don't see really high volume. You don't really see true clean moves that you would see with bigger market participants playing in this market, right? If this consolidation area, this blue, does give up or it comes back into here and retests, this will probably be the area where you get your decision of either. Nope, that's not it. This one. I got to add the brush to the favorite so I can just click it because I draw for the stream. You get something in this nature where you come into here and then push back up, or you get situation 2 where you do the same thing. You break down, retest, and continue down into the VWAP area. So those are the 2 scenarios that I'm going to be watching for this blue zone if it comes back into it. Above 129, I think Carlos is right. I think up to 160, maybe probably even to 180 up over there. Then into 200, that zone does feel like a reactive area. Nvidia is cracking. Microsoft is still just doing that grind up. Nvidia finally cracked that trend line. Like that trend line has held for quite a long time. Obviously, we have one break of it and then recovery. So we'll see if that does the same type of action here. or if it's going to start to induce that seller all the way down, at least to that upper band of VWAP and then beyond. We'll see what happens. That is going to help this move in this direction, though. So it's going to push us into our idea here of either break into here, consolidate, and catch a buyer, break in here, consolidate, and break lower, push into and just sweep through 32 down to overnight highs, and then find a break, retest, rotate down. Just finding those situations. Microsoft also pulling back from 411.25 as the high. So this is where there's going to be maybe some interesting ideas here. So if you are trading smaller size, maybe want to front run that breakdown, still be note this consolidation area. If it just cuts through this consolidation area like a hot knife, that's a real good indication that there's a seller pushing into here. NVIDIA, like it's, Charlie said, it is cracking. Microsoft is rolling over as well. So we do see that coming right this second. We can give that, both of them, break down from that trend. So this is the, will it now break, retest, rotate higher, or will it break down, trigger me in, and rotate all the way down to VWAP? Microsoft has that support line at 409.86. It pulled right back into it, just above it, and has started to catch a little bit of a buyer. So the buyers are still there. They're still present. Not a bad idea. At least you have an idea, a plan for it, getting involved in a planned out trade, right? Well, yesterday it took me until like 11:15 to get myself an actual trade and a good idea, and to get myself from red to green on that one trade. So we'll see if it's going to take that today. I am willing to wait a little bit longer on a day like today. It's a little rainy out, not a lot going on. My oldest is at school. See if we need to hold on and stay around. I'm not opposed to just locking out at down 345 either, because that's still a manageable loss. It's nothing crazy. I just don't really like the price action today. I don't like bullishness. Grindy, slow bullishness. Starting to accept into that little consolidation zone. See if it holds this zone and continues to rotate back up from here, or it's going to go down and through. All right, let's see where it ends up, Charlie. If this can breach through 32, that possibly leads us to our acceptance below this level. My only concern is it is a area of interest for a bounce, so I will get into it there at 32. However, if it bounces, that'll be the end of it for the day for this funded account. I'm not going to overtrade this account. So well done there, Charlie. I think it still does have downside pressure into 40s. And then obviously I do still believe that this 32 breach could lead to a failure down to at least overnight highs, hopefully down to VWAP for me. Microsoft needs to breach back down below 409.86, which it looks like it's trying to at the moment. NVIDIA still holding up. It did crack and it's still rotating downside, so it still has that pressure. But like I said, this is where you have to find your idea, right? Is this now a consolidate in this zone? And then is it a pop to go higher, or is it the opposite to rotate us downside? That's where my thoughts are going. NVIDIA is still turning down, Microsoft turning upside. So we do have a divergence there between the two. When they start acting together, that's when you're going to get the actual true move in whatever direction this wants to go. So this is going to consolidate us if that's the case, if those two names are going to diverge from each other. If you do end up getting Microsoft to sell off at all, then potentially NVIDIA will continue on. If Microsoft continues to step up to 412, then maybe NVIDIA turns the other direction. But NVIDIA is relatively heavy in comparison. That is why we're getting chop. Well, not chop, but like a pause here. The pause is definitely due to Microsoft stepping up from that 410 level and NVIDIA stepping down through 109. So both of those making some waves in this index here. See if I get triggered into the short through 32. My stop in is at 28 to be below this kind of test candle here. If it's going to continue upside, that 40 should hold, rotate you back through 70, then 70 through up into 130, 129. If it does not hold 40, then I would like to see this rotate down. But Microsoft, relatively strong. NVIDIA, still just below 109 even. So below 109. If either of these start to show more weakness, then we might get a hard melt. Yeah, I'm waiting for my entry. I would like it to go down. I would like it to just be straight down instead of this grind down that it's showing. Have my break-even hotkey ready. See if we can get involved with that. I'm looking to see if we can get heavy, quick. $19,032. There's some size at 30. 12 contracts. Nothing huge. Overhead, I don't see any asks that are really oversized. Pretty even keel on the order book currently. No icebergs that I'm seeing. $19,060, nice push. With Microsoft showing the relative strength and NVIDIA catching a bit of a bounce, at and near 109. It's looking like it wants to get over 109, but it's fighting with that 109 level. If 109 does crack and it pushes higher, watch for this to be that pullback, right? That break, retest, now rotate back up. Could be a whippy action to 80, and then a failed break of 80 could lead to that next leg to the downside as well. So that's what I would look to be watching. NVIDIA did not get back over 109 yet. It got up and it just failed it. Now got up again, and now is showing some more price discovery there. 109.05, 109.09. Those are the prices that I'm seeing right now in NVIDIA. Microsoft dancing around with that 410, 50, 411 area. 1020, the last 10 minutes of that Euro trading session. A lot of times you'll get some reaction here, either profit taking or continuation for holds for the next day. Does the Euro trading session indicate anything for us? We'll see if there's going to be any sort of like quick snap to the downside on that European close. Yesterday we had that kind of, it went into a level and then snapped down from it. I forgot what time that was. For what time? I forgot what price level that was. 1030. Oh, we're getting heavy. 1030 was that 200 level, that 208. So will we get that now? Will we get more snapping from this Euro close? Microsoft just broke down 410, now getting very heavy. NVIDIA breaking down as well. Let's see. Good short there in Abby. Good area. Hopefully I can get this to breach my level. $45 is getting filled on the bid. $42.40 is still holding, so 40 is still holding. I did like the way that Microsoft really pushed down below that key structure level, but it's whipping right back up over it. If it does hold that 409, 410, then we're going to get some buyers to push up. This could be a location where buyers are going to step in for Microsoft. Because that was a very whippy move below that level. I need 410 to hold. I don't think so. I think that this gets heavy fast. NVIDIA's trying to get heavy. Let's see what happens. Can we break through 32? Does 32 give us that really hard, snappy sell? Looks like there's some bids stacked up in front of it. If we can get down through it, it should kind of give us that snap through, get us triggered in, hopefully get us to overnight highs kind of fast. You're getting out here. All right. I like that you're taking profits. You are a scalper, so it is a good idea to take your money when you see it. Take your 20 points, take your 20 points, take your 20 points. I'll take it. Microsoft still trying to hold 410. That's a good out, Abby, based on Microsoft still holding, NVIDIA holding. 20 points is always good. I'll say it every time. 20 points is always good. Yeah, especially with the NQ, if you're going to be scalpy, if you're going to be in, you got to be out quick. Unless you're like I always talked about. I don't know if you've been in here since then, but I always try to talk. If it's going to be a fast move, I'm moving fast trails. If it's going to be a slower grinding move, it's going to move in my direction and then start to consolidate and move. Then I'll slowly start to trail my move. But if I see a nice hard move, I'm looking to get even quick, and then I'm looking to try and start to take profits as I see that really fast move. A lot of those fast moves in the NASDAQ leads to bounce back recoveries, as we saw down here. Really fast move. If you took that short, you got to be down and trailing that fast move. If it starts to just give you good structure-based breakdowns, then you can sort of trail it and be a little bit more risk averse. Or if you take more than one contract, you could go and put one on here, take one off, then just trail that last one with some structure slower. But you got to be quick in the NASDAQ for sure. There's the Microsoft seller again. 5 minutes to that euro close. See if we can get involved. I want to see if this will give me that push down through that key structure level. Lots of bids stacked up in front of it. Below it, I think we could still get down through to 20s. So we should at least get 10 points into this and then get to break even if we do get triggered in. I like the way that looks for a breakdown there. Microsoft holding 409.86, back above 410. NVIDIA dancing around with the upper band of the VWAP on the trading view version of the chart. I like the stall idea as well. Let's see if Microsoft gets heavy through the low of the little consolidation. If it should help us get, I mean, everything seems very heavy here. 60% short on the tilt. Not a heavy tilt, but the tilt has been getting paid today. If this buyer gives up here, oh, I'm all for it. I'm for taking my money and running on a day, right? Like if I could take this from red to green, I'm going to lock out and be done, right? That's just how the day is going to go. If I could accentuate some of that gain, that'd be great. But you know, anything after red to green is just beneficial to me. So really, anything below overnight highs, if I could get triggered in here and get stops to overnight highs on a trail, I would really think that that's probably going to be a good, you know, maybe I could trail it out to VWAP, but anything beyond that is just gravy, right? Microsoft's starting to give up again. 409.86. Seller stepping in. NVIDIA stepping in. Seller 10:27 a.m. here. Maybe we can get a little bit of a pop right from 40 right now up to 50. And then, like I said, fail 50 and then rotate through 32 and rotate really heavy because the buyer has finally given up at 32. So you can see buyer here, buyer there. The buyer gives up, should trigger us in and then get us at least down into that low there. So I'm going to take it short. There we go. Very quick move to the downside. See if we get heavier. I'm going to leave it here for now. I want to see if I can get a little bit more out of this down through 20s. If that's just going to be it, if that's going to be the manipulation, then I'm going to be out for a loss. But it still feels like it wants to get to the overnight highs, right? There's that push. Now I'm going to get to even. And now I'm going to see if I can get through 20s. If 20s gets broken, then I'm going to get my stop to 20s. Try and get that overnight high tagged. If this is just going to get me out here, then it is what it is, right? Should get heavier faster. Why is that over there? There we go. Nah, I'm flat. That was just, did not go. It'll probably go now because I got out at even. Let's see if the snap up happens one more time. Just didn't want to hold that longer than that. Not trying to take a loser on a trade that goes 10 points that fast. Secured $15 on that trade. NVIDIA is starting to give a little bit of a buyer. Maybe we can get it up. If not, if overnight highs fail, I will stop through there. That's my normal short, right? My location of my short there. Green is green, except for if it's going to actually work in my direction, I'm going to be a little bit annoyed. Obviously, I'm going to get in at my true break of the overnight high level, right? This was my front run of my key level, and this is my key level attempt to short through that. We did talk about this, though. If it consolidates in here, breaks down, retests 32, then we can get short. But this is going to get heavy fast. There's that push where I would have liked, remember I said I would have liked to trail the overnight highs and see if I can get it deeper. I'm now going to try and short the overnight highs and get even deeper down that way as well. But if it snaps up, we're going to be out, right? Sellers, I said once it starts to get heavy selling, it should get super heavy with the sellers. I'm going to go to even very quickly. Out. Even quick, because that looks manipulative. Another $10, up $25 on the last trade. So the trade was correct. I just pussied out on it. There it is. Good job. Good job. There's the heavy seller. My trade idea was correct. My execution didn't allow me to do it. I just did not hold. Traded my little P&L bit. But like I said, anything from 32s down to overnight highs, then everything beyond that, you can start to trail and start to feel through that kind of trade there. Microsoft at an area of interest for consolidation. If it does break 408.50, then rotate down to 406. Let's see if we can get up over overnight highs again, get up to 20s. Maybe we can whip that, and then I could get into my overnight high one more time. S&Ps did come towards the VWAP, tag off VWAP, and it's holding. That idea was actually perfect. So this is the idea right now. I like that short idea. So maybe we can get up back over 32 or back into that 32 area, and then I can start to short again. But I want S&P to get up over the overnight highs again. Getting 10 points in the green and then going to even shouldn't get me stopped. So that's usually why if I want my move to happen quickly, I want it to happen quickly. This is just me not trusting in my trade idea there based on the way it's been so grindy to the upside. But I did mention up here when we did break that 80 that we were probably going to start to melt down towards this direction. So I'm glad everybody else caught it. I'm glad I caught little tiny pieces of it and executed it a little bit, but just didn't quite let it follow through for me. Microsoft get up to 409, 410 again. Oh, 409 would be nice to help us get up over that overnight high. I need to tick up into that 20. If I can get up to 20s, I'm going to set that short through the overnight high, and I'm just going to let it go. Get up over that 20 or into that 20s. Microsoft pushing back up. If Microsoft can retest 409.86 and then sell from there, again, we could get another entry for this. There's that up to 20s again. So let's see if we can get this thing to rotate off of that 20, off the rejection of this little overhead resistance trend line thing that's going on there. S&P is pushing up over its overnight high as well. Microsoft just popped up close to that 409.86, right at 409.53. NVIDIA is at an area where their sellers could come back in at 108.30, 108.50. So let's see if this fails this again. If it does, maybe I'll get involved again below 19,000. If we make it through that low of this break, then I'll go to even. So I'm going to let it trade to 80s if it gets me involved. If it trades to 80s, I'll go to even again and see what happens. This is the failed break out, failed break continuation, trying to break it again, give it a little of a bounce, and then now rotate down through back towards VWAP. I want to get to VWAP. I want to get beyond VWAP. I want to get down through previous day lows and now, into overnight lows as a rotation type day. So my setup's still valid. Everything about this idea is still valid. With the equities still kind of confirming what I have my thoughts on the sell side pressure coming in heavier than the buyers, but still could turn and go back up at any point, right? Talked about the short through that level, gave you the opportunity to take it, took it, and then just got even too quick. This needs to tell me that it wants to keep going. If it does get through 80s, then we can get to even, then beyond. If it doesn't ever come down and trigger us in, then we're not going to get triggered. If it wants to rotate back up through 32 and beyond, up past this consolidation zone, then we'll watch that. Watch for it to get up into that level again at 50s, then to rotate down. But we still are seeing heaviness in both Microsoft and NVIDIA. So I still think that this trade idea works. And if it can flush through 19,000, then we will have more heaviness. But if it's going to front run 19,000, then we'll pop. Let's see what happens with this short. I'm going to give it a chance because I do think that we do have this opportunity here. $107.71 for NVIDIA is that support level as well. There's a line that I have longer term there. So I think that that's probably going to be the pullback point where they might want to try and bounce it in front of. 19,000 still holding. Get into 50s, short 32 again. Trying to be as patient as possible. Tried, and then I did not allow myself to make the money on that trade that I should have. 32. I mean, I got filled at 28s. So that was 30 plus points. Would have been nice. See if I can get it this time. Trying to see the stacking of bids at 19,000. If it gives up, will we get triggered this time? Looks like it. Order filled. Can we break the low here? I need to crack this low at 80 or get to 80 at least before I go to even. Because if we get to 80, then we're secured on a real heavier downside pressure. It's not pushing down as hard as I would like it to go, but it is still heavy. NVIDIA's heavy, Microsoft's heavy. Should still be able to get through this level here at 90, but it does not want to. Tell me it pops over fucking overnight highs and then goes again. Right? This is that level that I was talking through right there. It's really there. Can I get through 80? Hit 80, and then we should be okay. Up to 50 on that. So we are now safe at even or just beyond even. Because if this pops up, I'm going to get stopped out. If it goes down, I'm going to trail it. I'm buying myself another trade every single time I take a trade. I am very quick. Like Abby, I'm scalpy. If I can be scalpy, I try my best to do it. Get through that low, and I will move my stop to here. You're still not through that low. Basically got to buy back that slippage that I got from before. S&P is holding VWAP. Holding VWAP, holding VWAP, holding VWAP. I'm not going to hold on to the stop because just in case I drop it. So I'm leaving it there. Can we get through 80, get down to VWAP for my trade to work out very well? Red to green. If I could just get through the low, I can secure that red to green. It doesn't seem like it wants to. S&P's holding. NVIDIA holding. Trying to manage this position as best as possible here. Back. Whatever. We'll take that 105 when it stops us out. Yeah. There we go. Took 105 off. Could have gotten myself that 81 front run. But still good to secure back another $100. It's going to break through the low now because I stopped myself out, right? Hell yeah. Thank you, Deck, coming in and supporting the squad. The only reason I liked that out, should have probably liked it down here a bit more, trailed down a bit to 80s, is because of NVIDIA finding that support at 107.71. It is trying to break it now. So if it does crack this low, we do still have a good continuation. S&P looks like it wants to break through the VWAP. So could you take the short through 80 down into 947? That could be something that you're interested in, Abby, for that kind of scalp. I still need to get back to my level for it to be a good trade for me. I cost myself a little bit today on certain trade ideas. But, you know, if you go 80 to, if it cracks low, the low is 78. It would be a very quick scalp. It would have to probably be 80 down to VWAP. If it wants to go. If it doesn't want to go, then it'll whip this low and then rotate back up. If that's the case, I may look for the long through overnight highs to try and catch some more of this long idea. Would be a good scalp for a bounce. Would be a good scalp for the downside. Really depends on what you're seeing everywhere else. NVIDIA found support at 107.70. Microsoft is still just kind of doing that little bit of a sideways price action between, we'll call it, their support level at 408.60 and up to about 409. If it can kind of crack back to the high side, then you're going to start to see this thing bounce. If not, it just gets heavy. So, I mean, realistically, I was short from 30, 28 over here. Very good, clean move. I trailed myself out, got stopped out too quick. Same thing here, and then same thing here again. So, should be up on the day based on certain aspects. Market reading was very good. Executions were pretty good. I mean, even the break even earlier got us slipped. So, we're really less than a full loser on the day, which is great. Can't be mad at it. I do like the bounce idea through overnight highs if we get over it and hold. But I'm very, very quick on breakouts. So if this does break above here and hold, then we can look to buy, break even, and then see what happens from it. Because Microsoft is stepping up and NVIDIA is finding an area where it's interested, but I don't know if it's ready to go upside quite yet. It needs to crack above 107.80 for it to want to go up. It's still holding below 107.71. So it is still having that downside pressure. And Microsoft, like I said, 409.31. Yeah, they are impossible. I'm very quick to flip my bias if something's not going to go. S&P's has held the VWAP. NQ has not gotten to VWAP. Microsoft and Nvidia is starting to creep back up. I think anything over 19,000 starts to give you a squeeze. Could we get a real quick price action pop up to 50 and beyond? Maybe, based on the bullishness. Yeah, it's difficult in practice. I could see it. Over 19,000, 19,007. There's overnight high wick. Does it rotate back down? Or does it continue to buy? Comes back down below 19,000. Could give a good sell idea. Nvidia is trying to get back upside. I think a buy above here makes sense. I'll buy one and I'll get really quick to even. Like that quick to even. I'm not very good at breakouts, so I'm very risk averse when it comes to breakouts. I'll take 20 bucks. I'm not going to be mad at that, especially because my normal strategy is to fail breakouts. I do think that this starts to push back upside. I just don't have really great entry criteria. And if it fails, if this is my real setup, then we get short and we try to get it back to 80 again. But it looks like that Nvidia accepting back over 107, 108 now, pushing back up, squeezing up. Microsoft running up towards 409.58. If it gets over 409.86, then I say then the bulls step back in. Does 32 lead us to that break retest? Another failure to the downside, right? That would be nice and clean for me. That 20 level again. Here's my shot at it again. See if I can get to even, get myself back to even on the day, red to green, and then I'll be a happy camper. I front ran 19,000 and got myself into a little bit of trouble there. Come on, push down. Yeah, I took my even there. I don't want to take that. It's got to be below 19,000. I still like the heaviness. I have a couple more minutes before I'm done for the day, so I'm going to give my levels a shot. Yeah, we'll see where this ends up. Holding 19,000 for now. Still want to play my level here. Yeah. That was actually very decent size there that got pushed into that candle. I think 80s gets touched one more time. If I can get to 80s, like I said, I want that 80s mark. Microsoft pushing towards that level that I like to sell, that 409.86. NVIDIA at 108, dancing around. If it cracks above 108.17, then upside probably continues. I would like to see this crack, this downtrend here, this little crack of this level. If we're going to stay range bound here, I would expect to come down to the bottom of this, and then I can, like I said, look to see if I can front run it based on my level, then based on the cracking of that level. I only have 4 minutes before I got to just pause and wait. NVIDIA still holding 107.70. Microsoft still holding below 409.86. So one of these days it's going to go. Get rid of that. The real good trade was right here for that short, just to be noting this. Ideas for later. Nothing crazy. More trades than I would like to today, very much so. Just trying to grind back to even. Took a really good trade here and stopped myself out. Took a good entry here, stopped myself out at even. Obviously did not follow through. And then actually caught most of the move back there and gave back just a bit more than I would like. And then tried one more shot at it there. I think we'd still have a good setup here if it does decide to go downside. If it wants to stay range bound for the day. If not, if it's going to continue on and make a new high or stay within yesterday's range, then this does make some sense here to kind of linger in this territory. A retest of 40, 50s makes some sense as well for that breakdown, retest, failure, continue to rotate back down. Microsoft pushing back up to 409.86. NVIDIA pushing to 108. Still hasn't gotten to that 108.20, 108.18 level to break through. The ability to manage my losers has kept me under my pattern, my daily loss limit here today, which is great. I'm super happy if I could stay in this range as far as a losing day is concerned. Anytime that gets to be above and beyond, that's when you start to get yourself into trouble. This is the break retest here now. If it's going to continue back upside, if we break back above this zone here, that 70 level, then I would expect 129 to come in. If it comes into 50s and fails and goes back down below 32, then probably rotates back the other way. It's now 54. Usually I'm waiting for that hourly close, going to keep me in check, and I'm going to wait for that hourly close. I'll give it till 11:15, see if I get past my levels, see if I get into these zones, see if it sets up for me for that short idea. If not, if it happens before 11 o'clock, then it is what it is, and we just kind of move on. All it takes is one good trade, one good execution. Here was that execution realistically for me. I just did not quite allow it to take place. Yeah, me too. I'm very careful here. I got in at 28, would have been even. Oh, I've been down to here at 23 points. That's red to green there, and then you would have been green that point. I usually see my setup come into play where I could get a little bit of action right at 11 o'clock. So we'll see what happens at 11. And then the rest of the day fades off, and I usually don't do much. Overall, I think a lot of my are, talking through my levels. A lot of what I saw through the day was accurate. We wanted to be patient on this sell. Obviously, we caught it here, caught a break even, got slipped because the price was still being a little bit whippy. Stayed away from it for a while. Took this short here at our normal level. Had to do that. Everything else here talked about how if this grinding action does give up, then sell side does come in. And here's that overnight high breakdown happening right here and now. 4 minutes to the hourly close, and there it is. And that was my trade of the day right there. Sometimes the hourly close helps me. Sometimes the hourly close hurts me. And right now, it's not allowing me to get into the trade that I want to get into, or would have took the profits that I would have taken right there. Just kind of talking about that 32 level being that breakdown retest zone. So now maybe if we can get back up over that, I could get another attempt at it with that kind of pressure. I got to wait 3 more minutes though. I'm not getting any FOMO. I do, but I'm not going to act on it. Unfortunately, that's just where I lie with my rules. Got to be strict to your rules, not to do dumb shit. But that was the call, right there. That short opportunity right there was beautiful. Microsoft really kind of stepped into 409.86 and sold from there. NVIDIA pulled right back into 107.70 and is now holding that. Maybe for the hour we can get like a manipulation move one way or the other, and we can catch just a piece and be back to even on the day. So I'm going to stream through that if I do stay on. That's great moves right there. You can get 30 points out of that in one candle, more 40, 50 points out of that candle. You can find this support. S&P's holding that VWAP. I got 2 more minutes. See if I can get some pop into 20 again, and then give me that final failure of this level, and we can get a real good move in. This should not get canceled out. If it does, then the upside potential does come back in. Microsoft found the support. NVIDIA found its support. We do have a nice little bounce. That to the tick, that held that support there, right? But front running 80. So seems like that buyer is still here in this zone right there. So that zone is very reactive. 1 more minute till I can get involved again. Does it get back up over 32? Get up over 32. Allow me the opportunity to try my best to, if Microsoft can get to 409.86, we'll see. Yeah, I'm not really worried one way or the other. I think I've done a good job of managing my risk today, even on some of these trades where I was even a little too quick. What I may do if we get here at the hourly close, stop through here. But if we can get up over that, then I will look for the shorts from the overnight high again. $19,000 is obviously the number that it wants to mess with. NVIDIA is still holding that 107. If NVIDIA does creep back up, then we should be, looking for that long. But it looks like it's trying to come back down again. It's 11 o'clock. We could start to look for that entry. If Microsoft starts to get that heaviness, then maybe NVIDIA follows through as well. So I will shoot the shot at this one more time at 11 o'clock even here. Oh, that got me whipped in. Darn. Hopefully it flushes. And I can get through down to even at once we get down to 80s. 19,000 was a manipulation there. That's just on me. If it doesn't go. Microsoft's going though. Well, realistically, I got 210, so let's see what happens. Nope. Get down. Yeah, now we hit our daily loss limit of 550. So 547 really. I'm done for the day. That is it for the stream. I gave it a shot. It kind of snapped in, snapped out. Now you can see that manipulation trying to push us upside a bit. If it's going to go, so be it. Got a little whippy there for that fill. I'm one day of loser, one day of a winner. Going to get back into it tomorrow. We'll be back live 8:30 a.m. as always. I think our ideas were right. I think it was a little bit whippy. I usually see a bit more of a push through that zone if it's going to happen. I was messing with my level today. This should continue down through 980. We'll see if that other combine we can do that with it. But other than that, I appreciate everybody coming by. I will be back on tomorrow. Same time, same place, win or lose. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace out.